Hey, good morning, everybody. How we doing? I'm over here. My name is Jay. You are listening to the Flavor in Your Ear podcast. I'm going to kick it to my man, Danny, to formally introduce our guest this morning.
Everybody, welcome to the show. Today we got special guest, Andrew Moran, NBA skills trainer, owner of Miami Hoop School, head coach at Columbus High School. We got a lot of interesting things to talk about, interesting stories, how he has gotten to where he's at today, building, Miami Hoop School and networking and to the point where he's, made the connections that he has today. So, Drew, kind of what we do is, can everybody hear me?
Yeah, we got it.
So, kind of what we do is we like to get to the beginning of everybody's story, right? Everybody has a story. Everybody got somewhere. You didn't just get to where you're at today just by showing up and it magically appeared for you, right? There was a lot of hard work, a lot of persistence to build Miami Hoop School to where it's at, to the networking you've done with the NBA players and training certain, high level talent. So that's where we want to start off today. Like, what inspired Miami Hoop School? How did it start? Who gave you the push to really get it off the ground and really begin it?
Well, I'll start a little bit. I moved to Miami when I was 15. I did 2 years of high school at Gables. That's where I played basketball. So, that's kind of like my little introduction into Miami basketball. I arrived August of 98. This was just after Miami High had kind of got in trouble with some of that stuff. So just kind of learning the landscape of basketball here in Miami. At Gables was in obviously district of Miami High. Miami High was powerhouse at that time. And
sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead.
You arrived from Texas, correct?
Yeah, from Houston. I moved from Houston when I was 15.
Born and raised?
So, I was born there. I like to say that's where I'm from, but Miami's definitely my home.
For sure.
I've been here.
A lot of people use the term by way, so be like, I'm from Miami by way of Houston. That's
right.
what I do.
So, I've been over here over 20 years now. Okay. I got my wife. I got 4 kids.
Roots are firmly.
Yeah, this is my home. I love it here. The city has been really good to me. But like I said, I played basketball at Coral Gables. I could have probably played at some small schools like Division III and AIA. Had some distractions at the time. Was kind of an immature kid. Ended up going to, college just to be a student. And I finished up at Florida State. My brother was a walk-on there, kind of was around the team a little bit. I also helped out with the women's side there. So all along as I go forward, basketball was always there. My dad introduced it to us. He played in college. So me and my brothers and my sisters actually all played as well. But I would say, I came back from when I graduated Tallahassee. I got married. Was working over in Key Biscayne, Parks and Rec, helping out just with the sports and then, trying to build the basketball up there as well. And I would do like little private workouts here and there, but really was just not much, just doing it because it's fun, and then so I went to high school with David Carreño, was my best friend here in Miami. His brother was the coach at Miami High at the time, Marcus Carreño. He gave me the job as an assistant there. I learned a lot, learned a ton, and he allowed me to kind of handle the player development, not that at that time, there weren't really, I wouldn't say, even in the NBA or college, there were no like player development assistants,
Yeah, things have gotten more sophisticated, it seems.
Definitely, and it's grown a lot. That industry is very young. I would say, 10 to 12 years, in terms of people making a career out of it. But anyways, I was there. He allowed me to do that. I kind of fell in love with the player development. My wife ended up getting pregnant. As you know, high school coaches don't get compensated very well. I decided in the beginning I just wanted to be there a lot as my daughter was born. And then, through Miami High, some other Miami High people reached out to me and said there's a team that is looking for some shooting. Some just to help them out with shooting. It's a small little AAU team with some people there, and I went over and I started work with them on a team basis, and then slowly got into some more private sessions. And to be honest, I would say that's where it really started in terms of, okay, this can actually be a business. And again, I didn't understand everything at the time. I was just kind of going along with it, making some extra cash. Was fun for me and my wife. We could do more stuff, just kind of her and I, and have a good time. So, but at that I started to do that, and then it just started growing more and more, and I was able to do it in this guy's backyard, and he just let me continue to do it. I would leave at that time. I started teaching, so I would leave teaching and I would go there and arrive around 3:34. And as it grew, I wouldn't leave till 8:30 at night. So just doing private small groups. So I would say, that's where my love for the player development came from, coaching with Marcus at Miami High, and then just just through. I'll tell you what. And we'll get deeper into it, but my success comes a lot just from the relationships that I built. And you think like you meet someone and you build a relationship and you think something's gonna happen like soon, and you don't realize it. But 7 years down the road, this relationship has grown, and then there's this opportunity that comes up. So my success is definitely the relationships that I've built throughout Miami, not just in the basketball world, but just with also people that have helped me along the way with business. So I would say that's where it started. It started in the backyard of my friend Jose's house, and I went to work, and I just knew that I knew I was pretty good, but I needed to be better. So I actually jumped on with this other group called Impossible Training that I did for a while. This guy Michael Lancaster was doing really well in the industry, and he was one of those first guys that made a career out of it. Because at the time I'm teaching, so my main source of income is coming from me as a teaching and stuff like that. But I learned a lot from them. I eventually kind of moved away from them just because I felt like I grew out of it and went, and that's when I created Miami Hoop School. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff in between there. I don't know if you have any questions or anything, but my love for it definitely came from when I was coaching in Miami High, and the start of it, and like the thing like, oh, I'm gonna make this a business, was in that backyard where I was doing it.
What I think, and this is something we talked about with Coach Shaw in the last episode, was the time things take, right? So what, and then the work that goes into it, and the things that people only see the success. Like if they go on your Instagram right now, they see the abundance of NBA players that you work with, and the academy, and all the kids that go to the academy. But they don't see what it took to get to that point, right? And the time. How long did you have the academies up before they were, like, how many years were they running before they became to where they are now?
Well, let's say I started when I was, 28, 27, 28, I think. I'm 39 now. I mean, I will say this. I'm 5-6 years in. I'm not training NBA guys. That didn't come until, I would say, the last 5 years.
All right.
Where that really was like something that I do.
Right.
So everything has like a very organic evolution, right? So you start off wherever you start off, and again, you develop relationships, and then you get into, growing yourself and your actual skill set, right? To be able to prepare people. A transition like that from, very localized regional talent and individuals, how does that segue happen, and do you find yourself having to really up it or change your approach whenever you're starting to deal with people that are either getting paid for their profession or even just doing it at an incredibly high level with college, things like that?
I mean, yeah, I think you definitely better come in there prepared. I always felt like I was prepared for a workout because I prepared before. I kind of, especially if I had a bunch of time, I can prepare for the NBA guys, which gathering film and looking. I mean, one of the greatest things that we have for any person for resources is YouTube, Yeah. So if you don't have access to these things that, like, colleges and NBA teams have access to a program where they can just look up all types of film. But if you don't have that, I mean, you could look up maybe it's not extensive as those programs, but you can look up on YouTube and prepare yourself for anything. But I knew that I think also like I'm always in the mindset of learning.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
So I'm not the greatest trainer, you know. I didn't invent basketball.
Right.
you
Right.
know?
Right.
But I've been blessed to be able to do these things, and the only way for me to continue to do it at a high level is to continue to want to learn at a high level.
Okay.
You know, so I try to surround myself with, you know, other trainers that are doing it at a high level and see what they're doing and see how they do it, take from them and learn. And now I'm also coaching an actual team, and I think that's allowed me to be a better trainer as well. Because sometimes I think when you're just training, you know, the kid's improving, but when the kid goes back to his team, he actually has a role, whether you like it or not.
Right.
Whether it's the role you enjoy or not, doesn't mean that that's the role that you stay with, but you have a role, and if you don't do it well, you might not get the playing time.
Correct.
You know?
Correct. And then, yeah, you can't segue into either a more featured role, a prominent role, things like that for sure. You have to fit in the team.
Yeah, and you know, I want to give like a little backstory for the people out there to understand, because I know everybody's gonna go, you know, for the new people that are just discovering what Miami Hoop School is or who Andrew is. You know, we're gonna put the link to Miami Hoop School Academy on the channel, and so you guys can click on it and go see his stuff. But a lot of you guys are gonna see that, like, you click on it, NBA players everywhere and stuff like that, and. But I'll give like a quick little story. So everyone, because we always want people to understand that things take time, things don't grow overnight, success doesn't happen, and people have to make hard decisions a lot of the time. So for the people out there that are grinding away and doing something, so I remember one day Andrew called me while he was still teaching. This was when he was at the Doral Academy, and we were just talking, and he was going through like just decisions. Like, he wanted to go full time with the academy again. Like, he wanted to, his wife was pregnant. He wanted to like
pregnant with twins at the time. So
right.
my daughter was already born. There were twins on the way.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So
No pressure.
So a part of him felt like he was ready to step away from teaching and having more of that free time to run the academies and do that. But a part of him also, as a man and as a family man, knows that if he leaves that situation, there's a sense of stability that gets right. So he has to like either commit to something and hope it works, or, you know, and then lose that foundation that he has that gives him a steady check and he knows it's not going anywhere, versus, you know, taking the risk on his own business and moving forward for that, but while also being able to provide for his family. And I think that sometimes, like, we lose, like, we'll see like Andrew's stuff and we'll say, oh, look where he's gotten. And, you know, even a decision like that is very difficult for anyone to make. You know, like you just said, pregnant with twins, mortgage, house, wife, there's so many things that are going on in the background, and he's trying to make a decision on something, and he gambled on himself, and it ended up working. But just because that doesn't make it any easier. Just because it worked, right? There was still a lot to.
Well, and I'll say this, right? What if it? I think it would have even been well worth it, even if it didn't work.
Yeah, for sure.
I think we always hear stories of it working because we always hear the success stories, right? But if, let's say, I don't know, something happened and it didn't work for whatever reason, right? Because I want people to really give it a shot of what they like to do.
Right.
And, you know, obviously my situation was different. It's a little bit different. I have kids. I need to be also, like you said, a man and be able to provide. But I would say when I did that, the academy went to places that I didn't know.
Because you know that 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So once you finally jump in, you're all in. You've got all your momentum. And I was actually like, it's a good point that you're bringing up, because I think a lot of us, including this project that we're doing right now, right? We're like, okay, Danny just gave up something that he was really passionate about. And he, you know, once he said that, then I'm like, okay, I'm in. Because I know that if he's in like that 100%, 2 feet in, then this could only grow somewhere. You're invested, right? So, but again, he doesn't have the pressure that you did. I don't have that, you know, like, so. I mean,
but still, I mean, of course, you don't have the pressure of kids, but you still gotta, you know, everyone still has to live their life and has their own bills that they gotta pay.
Correct.
Right.
You know, obviously it does change when you have to take care of a human life, you know, but
When you're more worried about someone else.
And certain qualities.
But I'll say this: when I was teaching, in those last, the last year or two, like, it was time for me to get out of there.
Yeah.
I was like, the phone's ringing, and I step out of the class, and one kid did a log of how many times I went out of the class, and the principal screamed at me. But it was time already, like. I had already
the mind was elsewhere.
Yeah, it was
the focus was already there. So the fact that I did it, and it was you never know if it was the right time, but looking back, it was the right time. Hindsight is 20/20, but still, sometimes you just got to take a risk. I mean, in any business, if you're doing your own business, you're taking a risk because nothing's guaranteed.
And if there's no risk, there's really not a lot of upside.
Yeah. Correct.
So that's a good point, man. But I really want to know if we can find out the name of that kid that was logging you like that, bro. Because that's
I'd be talking to him like
he looked like the kid from Malcolm in the Middle. I remember that because the assistant principal was laughing at me. So, but he called and then the principal screamed at me over the phone. But it's all right, man. It was well worth it.
I would say so.
But and Danny knew. I've known Danny. Danny knew me before I was really training NBA players, right? Yeah, like
way before that.
How did you guys get started? Obviously through the basketball world, right?
The basketball world, coaching. I think
Miami Christian, Carreño.
Correct.
I coached at Miami High.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
a small world.
Yeah,
and Miami's a small place with just a lot of people in it.
It's funny though. Like I do have to say a side note. Like with you in particular, you're an interesting case study because you're always doing a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
And you're always pretty invested in most of it. So when you and I have been friends since high school. Sure. We were trying to get out of Gables and get into this little tiny private school. And the only reason we wanted to go back there was because not because we were going to be necessarily good, but because we were going to have like just a grasp over that and do whatever the fuck we wanted and just own that. But that didn't work out. And so when I reconnected with Danny, a good like 7 years ago, a lot of time had passed. He was always a humble kid, like living in Little Havana, that whole deal. That's where I left him.
Yeah.
And then he hits me up. I was doing a meal plan with my mother. We had this little business where we were doing like a healthy meal plan. Yeah. And he hits me up out of nowhere. And
I was trying to get right.
He was trying to get right, and God bless him for it. And I was doing him a solid because I was going from Little Havana all the way to like South Beach, to the beach, parking in an alley. But I'm like, oh, you own a supermarket now?
Yep.
That's random. That's cool. Oh, and you're coaching basketball too at the same time. Very cool. Oh, and you're doing what you normally do. You're grinding. All right, how do you find the fucking time? I can only do one thing at a time. But this guy's always up to something like that, like 3 or 4 things at a time.
So and that's and I would say, like, just to go back what you were saying, I think why you said like not only the 2 foot in situation, like, oh, you're 2 foot in, he was more I think also the fact that you knew that like you had to make it work, not just because of you knew you had your family.
Right.
Like that was when we talked on the phone. That was one of the biggest things that you kept harping on. Like, I don't know if I should leave. And then we talked. But my mindset is this. Like, I remember when that day that we spoke on the phone, which he was at school, like in the middle of class. Like, I was like basically like saying like, if you ask me anything, I'm almost like if it's I'm like I don't give a fuck type of guy. You know what I mean? So like, if it's something that you want to pursue, my answer is always going to be like, do it. You know what I mean? Like, unless it's something that's like really drastic, and for me that was easier said than done because when I make decisions like this, I'm usually making it for myself. Like, I don't have to consider other people when I'm making these decisions. You did. So I remember talking when I was just like, yeah, man, do it. Like, man, leave that thing. Quit today when you get out of school. Like, jump in and do it. And ultimately, it ended up happening a few months later. When I think you got to the end of the school year, correct?
Yeah, I finished the school year.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was like right after that, he obviously ended up not coming back the following year. And then you were running 3 different academies at that time? Like in different, like on different days?
Oh, yeah.
Different places, though.
No, I think 2. Then I remember opening the warehouse. So eventually it'd be 3. But then the other one, the people who I was subleasing from, they were losing the lease. So then it went back to 2.
Right.
But I would say obviously in this whole thing, and I forgot to mention some of it. I've been able to like travel. I've been to Spain like a bunch of times. I've been to Argentina. I've been to Panama. I've been to Puerto Rico. Been to other places around the country to
We've gone to a couple places together.
Yeah, I've been able to go to like basketball camps.
I always tell people about the Houston flight.
Yeah,
I was,
this
like,
guy was
freaking
scared.
out.
Wait, is that the one that the lady sat on your lap?
Yeah.
No, this guy was
Yeah.
scared. But anyways,
That's the one the lady sat on my lap on the way back.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, he's got. I mean, look, his fears are based off of something very, very rational. I mean, rational and understandable. But
this guy like reads a book like in the front, like
No, this guy, it's more safe in an airplane than a car.
yeah, that's statistics say so, right?
Right.
yeah. And then
Let
no
me
one
tell you,
wants to get in the
right,
car with me.
I do those drives to North Carolina every once in a while, bro. And
I got no problem with that. Like
dog, nah, man, those 18-wheelers, and I'm always like, guessing.
He held
like,
the hand of another grown man.
I did.
Did.
no shame.
whatever gets you
Right.
through it, bro.
Hey, that grown man is like the greatest human being ever, though.
Yeah,
Like,
he is.
He's like
He
the
is.
most amazingest guy ever. Like the fact that he even did that, I
But
was
this is the
panicking.
thing, right? So you have this basketball just takes you, helps you meet a lot of people, and then takes you a lot of different places.
Right.
And I mean, I don't know. For me, that's like, it's pretty cool. I listen. Did I think I wanted to do like some camps and I wanted to be this trainer and be this coach? Yeah. Did I think I was going to be training NBA players year in and year out and doing pre-draft workouts? And my first pre-draft with the number 2 pick in the draft, nah, I wasn't.
And that's amazing, dude, because when you really like put the scope on that, right? When you look at the fact that you're doing your thing and you want to do a good job, but these are individuals that have this potential that they're pursuing, right?
Right.
And this goal that they're trying to get to. And so on a personal level, and I guess we never really hear about that too much, but like what kind of conversations do you have with these like young people? What kind of like mentality are they in, or do they have a lot of pressure on them? Are some of them in the zone?
I mean, listen, they didn't get there. Just do they have a lot of pressure? Yeah, I'm sure they do. But they were already good when they got to me. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't like
You're adding the finished product.
yeah, I'm trying. Well, in terms of pre-draft, you're trying to prepare them for workouts. What is a team
Looking
gonna
for,
have you
right?
do? Or we want them to look the best.
Do you know that information already? Like what they do? Or what
I mean, I don't know exactly what a team's gonna do, but you have an idea what. And I call around and ask, and what certain I've been able to build some relationship with NBA coaches as well. So, I call and ask what they do. Every team's gonna do something a little different. But just trying to prepare them for that, and at the same time also increasing their skill level and where they want to improve and where we think they're going to need, everything is fit, I was doing James Wiseman's pre-draft, right? Well, he got drafted by the Warriors. We kind of, leading up to it, we were starting to feel like that's where he was going to go. Well, guess what? There's Steph Curry, there's Klay Thompson, there's all these guys there. Like, hey, you need to do. These are probably the things you're going to be doing your first couple of years.
Right.
And if you do these things really well,
It's a good place to be on deck.
Yeah, it could be kind of easy. Whereas like, let's say you take, I did Cole Anthony as well. He got drafted by Orlando. His situation is a little different. He's probably going to have the
Expect him
ball
to do
in
a
his
little
hand.
bit more.
Yeah, he's going to have the ball in his hands. He's going to do more.
He's also got a bigger workload.
Yeah. So it's just different. And again, you don't always know where they're going to go, but sometimes when they're high draft picks, you can kind of already the agency kind of they're talking with the teams.
You can slate them, especially like with team needs and things like that.
especially like 1 through 5. Usually, you know who's getting picked, right?
Right.
You see the projection. Everyone knows kind of where they're going.
I wanted to go back on something real quick that you mentioned though, because it's very interesting. Since you're like, I call it the circuit that you guys are in, right? The
Right.
basketball has its own circuit,
Right.
and so when you're traveling to a place that has produced tremendous talents like Spain, even Argentina, things like that. Like when you're going into these countries and into these basketball circuits, you're going in there in a training capacity, or are you there to run camps yourself? Like what?
Yeah. So and
how does it differ?
So we're running.
from here?
I'm going there to run camps, right? So there usually someone reaches out to me or someone recommended me, and we put together how we're going to do the camp. I mean, obviously they're doing the groundwork,
right?
Bringing the kids, but I'm preparing. Again, you have all levels. It could be. So there's a difference, right? So in the U.S., there's a huge focus on individual skill level,
Okay.
right? And not that there isn't a focus on team or whatever, or team skill, right? Because it's a skill to be in a team where there's a lot of ball movement and you got to figure it out, right?
For sure.
So here it's, and we have elite athletes and we have a lot. So, but what happens is I noticed that when you go somewhere else, the team has more emphasis on the individual skill, whereas here a lot of times individual skill has more emphasis, which you got to find the happy medium,
Right.
Because I don't want the kid to be. I don't want to tell the kid don't work on your individual skill because I want him to continue to improve.
Yeah.
But at
Correct.
the same time, can you fit what you're doing? Because remember what I said, when you go back to your team, you got a little bit of a role. Can you fit whatever you're doing into the team concept, into the team, what your team needs, right?
Correct.
So, like, for example, James Wiseman is, nobody knows, or some people know, but that guy's really skilled,
Okay.
extremely skilled. He can put it on the floor. He can post up. He shoots three decently. I'm sure it's gotten a ton better because when you go to the Warriors, all of a sudden everybody can shoot threes.
Right.
you know?
Yeah. The very best of them, really.
But when he gets into that setting, right, the ball dominators are going to be Curry and Clay, and
Draymond.
he's probably going to do a lot of screen setting and catching lobs and defending, right? So he might not be able to showcase all that skill right away.
Yeah.
And not only that, you got to go and earn it. You got to earn your spot, right?
sure.
And I think once we see him back now, I mean, he's coming off. When we see him now, especially when Clay's back, you're going to see him, I think, really start to flourish. But just my point is, like, I'm a skills trainer and then I'm also a coach now, right? So you got to try to find that happy medium. And then you also, as a coach, kids have their individual goals and their dreams. So how do you mix the dream with what the team needs, right?
For sure.
You don't want to kill the kids,
Drive,
right?
Confidence.
And it's hard because every kid wants to be a Division I player, right? But every kid
I wanted to play center field for the Marlins, bro, from the rip. You know what I'm
but
saying?
every kid is not a Division I player.
Yeah.
And I think you can find a way to explain it to the kid and where their level is, and maybe sometimes we're wrong. I could be wrong at saying, like, though, I don't know if this kid can play at this level or not, but
Well, sometimes it even takes years to figure that out.
Correct.
Like there's guys that in the NBA right now that didn't play D1. Some of them played D3. Some played T2. Like obviously, someone like Duncan Robinson played D3, ended up going to a Division I.
Right.
But that means a lot of people were wrong about him from the beginning if he ended up that low in the.
But to hit to someone like Drew's credit, there's a skill that's developed that that you're kind of honing. I would assume in maybe a place that is considered of a less talent, right? And then so if you are honing and then you're continuing to develop that skill, then that's when you give yourself that opportunity. It's almost like a chicken and the egg type of thing.
Yeah.
If it's not evident, right?
Yeah. And I think, even going back to the James Wiseman situation, it's like that's a unique situation in itself because most people that get drafted at the top get drafted to a bad team, so they get the opportunity to go in there and, like you say, like hone their skills, like have at it. We're not playing for
Relied
anything
upon
right now.
more
Yeah,
so.
we're trying to rebuild,
Right,
and
so-
where we drafted you, we're making you that piece.
Correct.
He got drafted in a unique situation where it's like you're now playing with some Hall of Famers, guys are coming back from injuries. There's an expectation to keep winning.
And I'd personally, I'd want to go to a place where winning is a priority. For example, right? We got Tyler Herro. I'm been blessed to work with Tyler Herro.
Amazing right now. Amazing.
Right? So let's say everyone knocked him a couple weeks back. What did he say? Oh, I feel like I should be mentioned.
Oh, that's right.
Luka,
Luka.
And
Trey.
everyone, I get my text messages, whatever. Well, what's this guy saying? Well, he can say whatever he wants.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's what he believes.
If he's not gonna believe himself, who's gonna believe
Well,
him?
first of all, that's what he believes, and that's what he's going for. And
Right.
right now, I mean, again, whatever the future holds, I don't know. Right now, he's got the same numbers,
Yeah.
and he comes off the bench. Okay, and he went to a team where you already had a core.
Very
like-
strong core.
Yeah, right. So you have a guy who came into a team that was successful, an organization that's successful, and he's still doing his thing,
Finding his niche.
right? And doing it really well.
Really fucking good.
And
Yesterday was a nice one.
Played good last night again.
But
And
this,
that's a little bit to what you're saying too, though, because the skills are there. They're like the guy is abundantly skillful.
well, so let's say, and again, I'm not saying he would do the same thing that Trae Young did, but Trae Young went to Atlanta, and Atlanta sucked.
Yeah,
Right.
historically as well.
And he was able to kind of do his thing, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, he's got the room
He had the
to do
freedom,
that.
yeah.
He's got
And
this,
don't get me wrong, Trae Young's really damn good, right?
Right.
He's really good, and
Yeah.
he killed it. And and then last year in the playoffs, he's good. He took his team to the playoffs. They added pieces. There's a lot of good players there, and he still put the numbers up to say, right? Well, this other player went to a situation where I don't get all the touches right away,
right.
but still
There's a
has
pecking
success.
order.
And then he got knocked last year.
Last year was a very weird year.
Well,
though.
yeah,
Would you
there's
not-
COVID. Everyone's in and out. There's no consistency.
They went very far the year prior. Obviously, they went to to the finals, and then they get started relatively early. So there's a little fatigue. I'm sure that.
Well, there was no off season.
no off season.
This guy works harder than most. I can't say he works harder than everyone because I haven't worked with everyone. But
Sure.
when this guy's working, he's going 2 a days. You have to slow him down.
Right.
Hey, let's watch your body. Let's make sure your body's good. Like, we can't wear yourself out either. So when that guy's in the gym, his confidence is through the roof.
That plus the fact that he put on some weight, like
Yeah.
some
Yeah,
muscle.
looks
And
stronger.
that was important, right? Remember, this is his first real off season.
Sure.
Rookie
as
year.
a pro, yeah.
Sure.
Rookie
That's true.
year, pandemic, all this
He
shit.
was able to prepare, get ready.
He obviously did extremely well in the bubble, and then the next year, he didn't do so well in the playoffs. Well, I don't know. We can go look at the whole team. We just didn't do well at all.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
As a whole.
Yeah, we were pretty snake bitten regardless.
But I just like comparison, right? We have a guy Wiseman, or Wiseman or Trae Young or Cole. Everyone goes to a different circumstance, right? How are you going to help your team? Because it's at the end of the day, it's about winning. At least I hope it is. It's about winning, and you have to figure out how to win with 4 other guys on the court, right? So, to me, it's impressive when you go to a team that already has and not to knock what the other guys do when they get to get all it, but it's impressive when you go to a team that already has a core scoring and a core situation, and you bring that situation up with your play. You know what I'm saying? So to me, that's really impressive. And then what he's doing, obviously, through what are we in 7 games in?
7 games,
7-1, right?
7-1. No.
6-1.
6-1. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, yeah, because they have the same record as the
Right.
Bulls right
So, but we know you're a Knicks fan, so
now. That is true.
even though I like the Knicks, and I work with Emmanuel quickly.
Yep, I
that
love
guy's that guy. Wait till they give him
Some more rain, yeah.
a few more minutes.
It's
right?
the thing is he's got a lot of people in front of him.
Correct, but
He's
that's
got
okay.
veterans.
You gotta be patient, and you gotta continue to work, and he will.
Kemba and Rose, are playing well. So and
Correct.
Thibodeau's always going to go with the veterans. But I've read so many reports about Thibodeau loving him. Like
No,
he talks super
He's
highly.
gonna
of him.
he'll be
So-
fine. You'll see him out there.
And it's crazy because he's not really like a Thibodeau type defender.
Yeah, he's probably excited because the Knicks are actually pretty good now.
Yeah, for once.
That side talk. Did you see that side talk Instagram clip?
Yeah.
Yo, if I could bring it up on the TV, haven't seen it yet.
No.
Oh, bro, they were acting irregular after
Oh
game
yeah,
one.
yeah.
with
And
the
then
microphone.
Fournier was like, "What did I get myself into?" Yeah.
It's because we're excited, man. It's been
No, they
it's
added
been a
good
rough
pieces.
stretch. Yeah, it's been a
It's
rough stretch.
unfortunate that Portland didn't add anything for Dame.
For Lillard, yeah.
Yeah.
They lost. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not sure. I have to check the box score, but I think I saw that when they lost last night to Philly. Tobias or Embiid didn't play, which is pretty bad.
Wait, Portland lost?
To Philly, but Embiid and Tobias didn't play,
Oh wow.
which is pretty crazy.
And or.
No, both of them
both
did
were
not
out?
play.
Okay.
I can't. Don't quote me on that. I'm saying I think that's what I saw this morning that they didn't play. But it was if they lost that like that, that's pretty savage. So I go to say this. How do you feel about some of the players? I don't want to say complaining, but having this discussion about the new NBA rules with the fouls. How does this affect the way you game plan for training? Because I've sat there, seen your training, I've seen other NBA trainers, and I see how they always teach get a guy on your hip,
Right.
then stop in front of him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And get the floater so you can get the contact. How does all this rule change now affect the way you approach it? Do they come in automatically telling you that kind of stuff already? Like, are they already like, obviously now all the stuff
I mean,
is about
I don't
James
think
Harden.
they didn't know. I don't know if they knew this is how it would be,
They
knew there was a rule change, but you don't.
Like this strict, yeah.
I guess there will be adjustments after this season in terms of training, but I mean, again, I don't think it's going to. You remember whenever they make a rule change in the beginning, it's always very strict.
Yeah,
it will become more lenient. Now, is it going to? There are some things that I agree with on the rule. I don't think you can just literally make sure you wrap your arm into theirs and go up, and that should be a foul. I agree that shouldn't be called.
Or I don't agree with the diving into them either.
Well, it depends on the situation. I think you can't say it's like definitive in each moment is different, right? And that's why it's going to be a judgment call on the referee. And guess what? Everyone thinks the referees suck always. So what's the point? What's the difference?
Yeah.
Again, I think things will change and people will adjust, and they're smart players. They'll find a way to get it done either way. I know. They're especially James Harden. James Harden does an excellent job drawing fouls. Right now, they're not
calling as much.
Yeah, but he's gonna get him. He's a smart player.
Yeah, I mean, as far as basketball IQ, that guy, I have to give it to him. He's a smart player out there. So it's again, I think it's a circumstantial thing. It's made the game so far a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah,
though. I'm not gonna
from a fan standpoint, most fans love it.
Yeah,
like it brings back an old school feel.
It just keeps the synergy going.
Well, it doesn't stop the game. The flow of the game.
The flow of the game.
We want running up and down,
especially late, man. Late in the fourth quarter.
I mean, it's always going to get more tactical, at the end of the game. But just to your point, though, it always happens. I mean, I don't remember the last significant rule change where it was always like, I remember when they went to start playing zone again, where you couldn't, dude, they were calling every second. Like I remember Zoe back in the day, that's when it started. Like was getting called all the time,
right?
And as the season went on, they start to say, okay, like what Dwayne Wade used to do, he used to get you up in the air and just literally jump at you if you were on the right-hand side. Right. That's not a basketball play. You know what I'm saying? Like,
those are the plays I don't like.
I just think the rules should be the same top to bottom. Why doesn't college have the same rules as the NBA? These guys want to go play in the NBA.
I agree.
I
mean, but they're not all going to.
No, but that's
what would you say is the one that stands out the most?
And this is why I think we're having more people go straight to the G League or other areas because they're going to be more prepared.
The game resembles it, right?
Or if the NCAA doesn't make adjustments, which probably NCAA will be obsolete pretty soon, but why don't you make adjustments? What's the point? You want this to be the feeder to these places, then make it the same rules. Why can a guy on defense stand in the paint for 3 seconds, but a guy on offense cannot?
Right. No,
right?
I agree.
That's why I think, I actually agree with defense at 3 seconds. You could still get over if you're a tough defender. You get over in the help side quickly. But yeah, I mean, as far as the foul thing, I think we're in the beginning of the season. It's going to be really strict. They're trying to make a point, and then it'll even itself out.
So you think it's going to ease up?
It will even out. Will it be like before? No, because they made a rule change. But I think it'll settle down and even itself out.
So do you think you don't think it's gonna change anything for you as far as how you approach certain skill sets?
Nah.
Like driving and creating contact and things like that.
I think you still want to teach to create contact. You want guys to go to the line.
Right, of course.
I also think James Harden is, because obviously this is who's getting the brunt of all of it.
And Trae Young.
Correct.
But
James Harden, he's coming off injury. He's not even in shape yet. Wait till that guy's in shape.
Yeah.
I've seen that guy in pickup games with NBA players. He's, he'll be fine.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think as the season goes on, I don't think that's like a team that's worried about what seed they get.
Nah.
I think there's like, if we get in, we're going to be like, you still got to beat us.
Yeah.
Like, we might go to your house, but you still have to beat us.
Yeah.
Who knows? They might do it on purpose. Kyrie can play more away games anyways.
Let's see what happens with that.
So they might do that on purpose. We'll start off the series at somebody else's house, and he can play the first 2 games, and we don't have to. You think Kyrie's gonna come back?
I hope so.
All right. Well, I mean, it would be better for the NBA, I think, if he got for the team. In general.
I don't disagree with Kyrie what he's doing though.
Oh, me either. Honestly, I don't either. And I don't think it's selfish in any kind of way. I think it's his body. He has the right to make the decision that he wants to make. I don't disagree with him either. But I do see it from both sides too. I say, it sucks for the team.
Of course.
Like they're, especially right now that they're trying to get a groove. They could use him. And I saw KD said the other day, like in a post game conference, like we miss Kyrie right now. So like, it's
right.
like,
But he said it because they kept digging at him.
Yeah,
he's like, oh, I know what you want me to say, so I'll just say it.
Yeah, and I think, but I do think there's truth to that.
There is truth, but they have James Harden and Kevin Durant. They should be okay.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't.
They can hold the fort down.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
They may have two of the best individual scorers
ever.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about ever, but at least right now.
I mean, in this generation, you can definitely put that on. Like, Harden the last couple of years in Houston was just
sure.
Ever, I would say KD ever for sure. Like I think
that's incredible.
Yeah, he's I've never, even like now I still watch him and I'm like, man, like when I saw him give the 50 piece last year to the Bucks,
yeah,
I was sitting there like, bro, it's like the shots that he's making at his size are out of this world.
Not just that, bro, but the fact that he got back from that injury.
That's remarkable too.
That's pretty special. But just to bring it back to that Kyrie thing, not to make it all like NBA talk and stuff like that, but it was really like New York City, which is really the one that's put the mandate, right, is just notoriously difficult to go up against. So really, the way that he's dealt with it is the only way that he can deal with it, right? And a lot of companies, it's not going to be just New York City. A lot of companies are going to start getting those OSHA mandates, and it's like that's when the ball goes in your court, so to speak, right? And you're going to be like, okay, you can either make a stand, and if enough people do that, then maybe things change. But there has to be a poster child for that individual right that you should have, right? This is independent to how we feel from about vaccinating and all that stuff. That's a different conversation. It's really like, what are your rights? What can you do?
Right.
And so the one that makes it tricky though is that he's already like the fun part is that he said that he'd retire if he goes somewhere else. But you could go somewhere else and you could probably bring back value to Brooklyn, and then you can also continue your career. That's the interesting part because not every part of the country has that.
So for the people out there that don't know, was your first client Tim Hardaway? Your first NBA?
I had the opportunity to be in some workouts with Chalmers. I wasn't necessarily leading them.
Right.
And then I had some workouts with Chalmers, but I think, before I worked out with Tim, I actually worked out James Johnson.
Okay.
Prior to Tim. Now, Tim has been my, I've been with Tim for like 5 years now. Right. He would be my longest consistent
and bond,
player.
The bond that you guys have
built, I've seen Tim grow as, obviously as a player, but also as a man. I've seen him mature, and you could tell in his game and how he carries himself. And
you have like such a close relationship with him. Yeah. Is he very similar to his pops? Like, like his demeanor, his attitude, like the way he speaks. Is he like?
Well, yeah. So everyone, so if you meet this pops, right?
Which I have like regularly.
Really nice guy.
He's a cool guy. Yeah.
But if you play on the court, you probably think he's not very nice.
But those are the kind of people you want to play with, right?
Like, that guy has got the strongest offhand in the history of basketball.
Okay, yeah. And crossovers.
No, I know. Yeah, well, that's obviously
that's well documented.
Yeah, but no one knows about the offhand really. Everyone knows about the crossover, but the offhand is unmatched.
Okay,
it's undefeated.
So you felt it, is what we were saying.
Yeah. When you play against him, and this is after he's retired for like 10 years.
And he's got like the old man strength. He's got the old man strength.
But they have a lot of same characteristics. They're passionate on the court, and like I said, when you're on the court, sometimes you think people are, this asshole or whatever, but really it's just bro. You can't be nice on the court.
There's a rawness that you.
There's no nice NBA player on the court.
You would say like when I remember Tim Hardaway was like a more outspoken senior was a more outspoken player.
Yeah,
like Junior. When I watch Junior play, he doesn't really say much. You could tell he's competing.
No, he says stuff.
Okay, so you can't catch it on TV.
Yeah,
then,
he says it. And he's passionate, and he'll disagree or he'll say something like,
I like the fact that he doesn't complain a lot to the refs.
He had a couple of nice shots yesterday, actually.
Unlike his teammate Luka, always every single play. That's the only thing. He's a skilled player. I like watching him, but Bro, it's like every single play he looks at the ref. It's like, man, just keep playing. Like they're not calling that. Just.
True.
I can't.
But
I don't
he
like
does
players
also
like that.
go to the rim a lot, so
I know, but you can't. It's impossible to get every call.
Correct.
Like, okay, do you think Luka gets more fouled than LeBron? Because I don't.
nah.
And I'm not like the biggest LeBron support fan. I'm a fan of him as a human being, but not so much of a fan of him as like a player. He's not definitely one of my favorites, but he's a great player, right? But I don't think nobody in the league gets fouled more than he does.
Probably not.
You know, I just think a lot of people think the referees let it go because he's so strong.
Right.
And he takes contact. Like I feel like he can go to the line every single time he drives. Like it's a foul almost every time.
Maybe.
Right. So but like even he complains a lot too. But I also feel like he's older. He feels like he got that respect from the referees and he should get more calls. But every time I see Luka, I'm like, man, like get back on D, man. Like
maybe you're right.
You're still
No,
like,
you got to get back on D.
Yeah. And sometimes he doesn't. So, but you know, that's what I like about Tim Hardaway. Every time I watch him play, it seems like he's not like, all right, you know, whatever. I got fouled. Keep going, keep moving, keep playing. He's pretty even keel kind of guy. And I want to segue into this. Like as I watch these things, how much are you when you watching these guys? Like even someone like Tyler Herro now is having a great season. When you're watching these Heat games, because I know you do. How much are you already thinking about things that you want to talk to him about or critique about? Do you text these guys after the game?
Well, so I don't.
Stuff down?
Sometimes I text after the game. I don't always do it.
Like good or bad, or just more so one the other?
Yeah, good or bad.
Okay.
I mean, especially with a guy like Tyler Herro, he's okay with criticism and you know helping him be the best player he can be. You know.
Yeah.
Tim, on the other hand, Tim Hardaway on game day, he ain't answering his phone.
Yeah.
So.
To anybody, yeah.
Nah, no one.
It's got to be like mom, maybe.
He's focused. He's locked in. I mean, not that the other people aren't, but that's the way he does it.
Yeah,
yeah. He's not gonna answer a text really before a game. Probably not much after either, just because he's on it, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I text every now and then. I mean, I could probably do more of that.
Yeah.
I have so many things going on.
Right.
I go home and I got 4 kids, so I'm dealing with that as well. At the same time, trying to watch the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's important to continue to communicate with them and let them know and what you think, what they think. Ask them what they thought. You know.
Yeah.
Sometimes they obviously have a different perspective. They're in the game. We're watching it on.
Right.
You know, they see things a little different than we do sometimes. So, but yeah, I think it's important to communicate with them and talk to them.
Yeah. So, and I see this like. Obviously, I don't want to speak in generalities, but because everybody's different. Everybody has a different personality. How open do you think, or how open not think, because you obviously speak to these people, like to these guys on a regular, but how open are these guys really to critiquing versus instruction? Like in terms of like, yo, this is what we're going to work on versus how much do you think they want to hear you critique what they do?
I think that depends on the player.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like everyone has a different.
I think the best ones are okay with any type of instruction, you know.
Right.
But I go into the summer workouts with a perspective of my perspective, what I think the focus should be, and then I ask the player what they think they should be, and then I try to connect with. Usually, there's a coach assigned to a player in the team.
Right.
I try to connect with that coach. What does the team want from him?
Right. Like Chris Quinn worked a lot with Tyler Herro.
Correct, and I have a good relationship with him.
Right.
And he, you know, it's having that open communication. They're going to be open. Like you're not saying, "Oh, we're only doing this." You know.
Yeah.
I mean, I said in the beginning, even before any skill work, I thought the most important thing for Tyler over the course of the offseason was getting stronger.
Right.
Just because, I mean, the guy's so active. I don't know if obviously I've seen him the last 2 seasons, but I sent him a text like, yo, dude, you're playing really hard. Like, it's kind of inspiring. And I work with him.
Yeah.
And I'm just watching him like, yo, if everyone plays like this,
yeah,
you know, forget the offense. Like, he's been criticized for his defense. You could tell that he's locked in on it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's the greatest defender, but you could see that it's improved a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and then the way he rebounds the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's averaging like 7 rebounds a game.
Yeah.
So,
I know. I pick him every now and then on FanDuel.
I think he's good for that. You know.
Yeah, and he's cheap. Like he's relatively cheap right now.
His price is gonna go up though.
They go up as weekly. Like if
The sample size.
based on production. Yeah, so like if they start to produce like Julius Randle's still pretty cheap for the amount of minutes he plays. Like they could be up 40 and Thibodeau still won't take him out. Like, and he's still like going through him. Like it's amazing. But like, so you want to pick someone like that because you know that what matters is with like those fantasy, like 1 day fantasies is like how much time is that player going to play. And like what's more important than the points is like the rebounds and the assists because they give you more points for that. So I think overall, like with Herro, one thing that I've been impressed with watching the games lately has been I don't know how much you've like we haven't really we touched on this, but like man, he's running a little bit of point when Kyle Lowry's out. And he's doing a pretty good job. Like handling the ball, setting up offense.
Well, he knows he
didn't do that much the first 2 seasons.
He's a good passer.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you're starting to see more of that.
The guy's a playmaker. You know, he knows how to create for others. And I think he enjoys. I mean, if you see when he's throwing up lobs for Bam, he gets really excited when Bam catches him and you know.
Yeah. I think the whole team, like, because Bam is such an energy guy.
Yeah.
So I think, like, I think Bam is, like, the glue in terms of, like, if he comes out with energy.
That guy's been playing like a beast, too.
Yeah. I think.
And Butler.
I think the Heat have just felt like they were disrespected last year.
Well,
like,
not only that, but, like, remember, you have a full offseason. It means you get, remember, you're with a team for so long, and the offseason is to kind of, also.
Decompress.
Yeah, decompress and kind of move away from the guys for a little bit. Improve and then come back, you know.
Exactly.
So I think with the full off season, it has helped a lot.
When a guy does a move that you've worked with him, like, are you like thinking about that as you see? You're like, oh, we've done that plenty of times. Like when you see him doing certain shots, certain moves.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, especially like when I was working with Tyler in the before the bubble. Right, it was pandemic. One of my gym was kind of one of the only gyms we can have access to, and that guy was working.
Yeah,
and the focus was getting kind of downhill out of the pick and rolls to the rim.
Yeah,
and if you go back, you could see like he was finishing well around the rim, off the pick and rolls, getting down. So that was for me. That's cool to watch. You know.
Yeah.
So
what Shaw gave us some pretty cool stories about certain guys. You got anything cool, like any cool stories about any of these guys? Maybe humbling stories, maybe stories that like would inspire some of the kids, like just based on work. Like I know we've talked about like Emmanuel quickly, like how much work he puts in. Like you got to get him off the court. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like I saw him post a picture one time of like his sweaty T-shirt. Like
so like the work ethic. I think the kids nowadays, and not all of them, but some of them, they want the end result, but they don't understand the sacrifice.
Right, exactly.
The sacrifice is,
and that's in general, not with just kids. That's in general with adults.
Right.
Like a lot of people want to be where you're at, but they don't understand the sacrifice of what it took to get there.
It's just, bro. It's just the work. You know, now obviously it has to be smart, intentional work, but you put the work in, and the result usually comes. The result usually is positive.
Right.
Again, you have to have self-awareness. What are you working on? What is it that you need to be working on? That all that goes into play. But if you're in the gym consistently working, you're going to become a better player.
Right.
So, I mean, some of the guys that, like I said with Tim, I watched Tim mature. The guy doesn't come late to a workout. The guy's consistently off season, 5 days a week, sometimes 6. He has his schedule. He goes, we probably go first early in the morning. He'll come if I tell him to be there at 5 a.m., he'll be there at 5 a.m. He'll show up, boom, takes his break. Then he does his strength work over at DBC with David Alexander, and he goes there and he gets that done, So it's to me, remember, if you look at Tim's story, he was drafted, he was with the Knicks.
Right.
Then what did he get traded to? Atlanta. He was in the G League.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, what's gonna happen to him?
Right. And back to the
And
next.
forgot
I
about
heard
that.
stories that he's just started putting in that extra work, coming in hard. Even if he wasn't going to play a second in the game, his pregame workout
Right.
was intense. And then he had that little playoff run.
Right.
And then he got paid.
Yeah.
By
Back
the
to the
Knicks.
Knicks. Yeah.
And he continued to work. Even after he got paid, he continued to work. Look at him. He's Mr. Consistent. I mean, the guy's averaging, 17 a game, 18 a game over the course of, the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. I saw him play a lot when he was in high school. So
Yeah.
like Palmetto versus Killian versus Southwest, the Geo and those guys. And I was even at the regional semifinal game against Southwest. So like I've seen him. It's funny to see him, like a kid from Miami, grow like that. You know?
Yeah. No, it's awesome.
And also the cool thing is just always staying out of trouble. Like never any it's and it's not that easy for some of these guys, you know.
Right.
Like they sometimes it's not even that they're just bad people or they just make a bad decision at one point. And like it's so when you see a guy consistently go through his career that you've seen grow up as a kid, and I'm sure a lot has to do that with his father. I'm sure there's a lot of guidance there, or a lot of advice that goes through.
Absolutely.
And he's also seen his father be a professional. You ever think that someone like Timmy has always, like, in the back of his mind has always felt like what it's like to wear a Heat jersey, like maybe because of like his dad, like he grew up a Heat fan basically.
Yeah, I think that kind of came up over this course of this offseason.
Correct. Yeah.
I think he fits into what the Heat do.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
You know,
It would have been a good pickup.
he
if they
definitely
did.
loves Dallas.
Yeah, I know we've talked about that. Did he feel some kind of way when Carlisle left? I know he had a good relationship with him. He liked him.
I mean, yeah, I think every time there's a coach that you've grown with, there's a little bit, but also those guys understand the business part of it.
Yeah, he helped like kind of revive his career a little bit through him.
Yeah. But I think that they enjoy. I think they like Jason Kidd. You know, I haven't had a ton of conversations about that, but
Yeah.
let's see how they do.
So let's talk about AAU.
Okay.
When we're gonna get into the Team Hardaway stuff, let's talk about EYBL, the kind of play, you know, because so just to give everyone out there a rough thing, like you know, Andrews coaches the Knight Riders, 9th grade team.
Yeah.
Has the number 1 player in the class, pretty much, right? Carlos Boozer's son, or sons. Right,
Yeah.
let's say sons.
Don't leave out the other one.
Yeah, don't leave out because the other one plays. Yeah, I think
he's
sometimes
really good.
he gets overlooked. You know, sometimes. So that's why I wanted to make sure it was plural. But for the people that don't know, there's 3 leagues: EYBL, Under Armour, and Adidas, and they're basically 3 sponsored leagues by the biggest shoe companies in the world, and they create their own leagues, and they have the best high school players around the country. It's like basically like most of these guys that play in the EYBL, or a lot of these guys are going to be in the NBA or playing pro basketball.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what's it like seeing these guys, and like, do these guys like ever come up, like see you and be like, oh, this guy trains, you know, like, oh, look at their coach. He trains all these NBA players.
So I think some of them do sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think every one of them know who I am, though. But yes.
But they eventually will, yeah.
Well.
It comes to a point, yeah. It comes because like your Instagram's huge, bro. So like if they just see your Instagram,
there's other trainers that's much huger than mine.
yeah. Well,
and the fact that I will say this, just meeting you for the first time, you got a demeanor that's low key. You know,
Yeah,
you're not
yeah.
walking out there. I'm sure, like, you know, your profile speaks for itself, but
Yeah.
it's not one of those things where you're like tooting your own.
I like to lay low a little bit.
yeah. And what do you think about like the talent in these leagues? Like, are you still like, obviously you being around all these NBA players, you know, coaching a successful high school team, like, how do you see when you see these kids, like, how much does it still like surprise you, like the talent level that these guys are playing at in high school right now, like juniors, and like these guys?
We
in the
got to
UIBL?
go to this thing called the Border League.
Right.
It's over.
Talked about in Vegas.
It was in Vegas. They didn't let us into the the top division. We were in the second one just because it was our first year. You know, we got to earn our stuff. You know.
Right.
We actually went there. We did really well. We ended up winning that division. But also we were able to watch the games of the top flight division, which had some of the best players in the country.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the best teams in the country. It's always fun to watch the new kids coming up.
Yeah.
And to see what
You're like, that's a potential client later on.
it could be. Yeah, you never know. You know. So I mean, you know, I've learned to assess players better now because of the caliber of player I've been able to work with, because my relationships with people and understanding, obviously like with Boozer's kids, right? One is 6'8", one's 6'3", they're twins, they're skilled, they're athletic.
They play hard.
But there's a lot of those. Yeah. There's a lot of skilled, athletic kids that play hard in the United States.
Yeah.
What sets them apart is their knowledge of the game and their understanding, the reads that they make. They're 14 years old.
Yeah.
They won't, So we went over there, and, we have...
they got knowledge at the house.
Correct.
Right.
We have other, pieces on the team as well that complement them well. Malik, who's a sophomore. Benny, who's also a freshman, could be one of the better shooters probably in the area. Garen. Then we got really nice pieces off the bench that complement them well, and they do a great job of finding guys. So to me, what sets a player apart, because again, you can go to these top camps in the country and there's athletic guys everywhere.
Yeah.
And they're 6'7". Yeah. They're 6'9". They're handling the ball. Some of them are shooting. So you got to find an edge. And if you understand the game well and you play it the right way and you have all that other stuff, you're going to be watching some of these kids. And that's what I look for, especially when I went to Vegas in that top flight division. Everyone was athletic, strong, fast, skilled. I try to see which guys read the game the best, because I think those are the ones that will eventually lead the way later, even if they don't have as much clout or ranking or whatever as some of the other guys, because there's just some guys that are such elite athletes,
which is really what determines the ranking, especially at the top of end.
I think so. Yeah.
Skill level, because it's all about ceiling.
Correct. But once you get to the league, it don't matter anymore.
It don't matter anymore. Yeah.
Everybody's
like
that.
else. Yeah.
Yeah. You have to be.
You have to earn it.
You have to earn it. You have to be. You have to learn the game and understand it. You look at LeBron, and I think he probably watches so much film. He understands maybe, or knows. I don't want to say knows too much, but maybe sometimes because of all the stuff that he's watched, he maybe overthinks things.
He's computing a lot, yeah.
Whereas he's the type of guy, I think, you watch you're prepared, just go kill everybody, you know? So, I'm
sorry. That's an interesting thing to think about, though, because I remember 10 years ago when we were talking about Dirk and some of these tall guys that are just shooting from distance and handling the ball and things like that. And then there's a way that we kind of have taken LeBron, for example, for granted.
Yeah.
And just because, we assume, okay, this guy's tall, this guy's big, fast, faster than everybody, things like that. But we don't think that the guy is just thinking at a higher level. The guy's
19 years in the league. I don't know.
19 years. That dunk, the reverse dunk.
Dunked like 4 times last night.
He outran somebody.
He just ran right through.
He outran a rookie or something like that. I forgot the name of the guy. But
he gets criticized the most. But
he does.
He's the guy.
Because he ushered in that new generation, right? And he's still part of even the second generation that came apart. But just talking about the younger guys that. Everybody's tall, everybody's athletic, everybody's strong. What's going to set you apart really is that mental edge and the evolution. It's interesting to see where the evolution of the physical prowess of the game is going to go now, because it's happened so fast.
Well, now every big man wants to be a guard.
They
want to stretch their game.
Correct. Which, whatever, it's fine.
I don't have anything wrong with it.
But
it's just the way the game is changing.
It's good to have a lot of skills, bro. Everybody's,
Yeah, it's so... And when you put it, you're around these kids so often, and I don't think that any NBA parent or NFL for that matter, or I think any professional athlete parent, you know what I'm saying? Even someone let's say as big as Serena Williams, I don't think they ever put any pressure on their kids, because they know what they have to live up to. You know what I mean? It's already a lot. You know what I mean? You think that just naturally they feel pressure to be as good as they are because of like their pops and like what like the expectation that's been placed upon them, or do you feel like they're just like, hey, we're gonna do what? Because I don't think it comes from. I never think it comes from any family member.
I think they
at
want
that
the
level.
pressure.
They want it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like they embrace it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's some people that don't.
Right.
You know, like they're afraid of not living up to that. Yeah, they're
to take
reluctant.
it.
Yeah.
But when you think about a guy like even like Steph, right? I mean, his dad was a good ball player
Right.
back in the day, and I would say he's probably
Oh,
superseded.
sometimes
that
you could be better. Yeah.
by a lot.
Sometimes you could be better.
Superseded is an understatement.
Yeah. Basically.
Right? Yeah. I mean, there's not.
Yeah.
Just the greatest shooter of all time.
Like you know, it's like even like someone like Tim Hardaway, like his dad is like a legend here in Miami. You know what I'm saying? And what he did for the franchise and the kind of player he was, and then, you know, growing up with that kind of, but it never seemed like when I used to watch him in high school.
Yeah, they need to put him in the Hall of Fame.
His dad?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there you go. You heard it here first.
People
Put him
forget
in
what
the
he
Hall
was
of Fame.
like out there in the Bay Area too, bro.
It's all right, man.
But I would go to the games, and I think one time they were playing, it was a preseason at Southwest, but they were playing Killian there, I think.
Yeah.
And I was sitting right next to his dad and his wife, and his mom. she
Yeah.
said. And they were super nice. Like, you know, like they, and I just think I see him play, and, you know, like you could be observative and see like that kid that always wants to like, they look up at the stands to see what they're, you know, like they're.
Yeah.
Tim never, I never really, like, I would look for those type of things, and I never saw him really do that. Like, I think he just played. Like, he was just like, I'm just going to come out here and play.
Yeah.
Whatever we talk about later, we'll talk about. And that's why I feel like there's never, and feel like someone like Tim Hardaway Sr. knows that, you know, I feel like most parents understand, like, yo, it's already hard.
You got enough pressure on
Yeah,
you.
you got enough
Yeah.
pressure on you as it is. I don't need to place that on you. I at least believe that. So I see someone like the Boozers, and I say, man, you know, how much do those kids feel that pressure? Like you said, but they want it. It's something.
I'm sure
that-
they feel it sometimes, but bro, just if you're prepared, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
If you're not prepared, then
Yep.
right,
it's an issue.
Yep.
right, and they handle it well. They come out there and they
Dude,
play.
and it's funny you mentioned that because I mean I grew up playing. You know, I loved basketball more than all sports, but
Yeah.
obviously, you know, like
That's
physical. I grew up playing baseball. You know,
Yeah.
and my dad was like that local legend guy.
Yeah.
and you know, different positions. I'm left-handed. He was right-handed. Played third base. All that stuff. I was still looking to the stands, man. When my old man was out there,
Yeah.
and I'm like, you know, and he was pretty chill. He was just like, if I did something stupid, then
Yeah.
I got an eye, you know,
Right,
from a
yeah,
distance.
yeah.
But if it was like, you know, any regular play, like I'd look up and he was just like just chilling, looking at the rest of
Yeah.
the, you know, the diamond, whatever. But you know, I can't imagine that sort of mentality, especially if you're showing promise or skill
Right.
or something like that. You
Yeah.
know, you definitely want that approval
Yeah.
from the one that's already been there.
And sometimes it's just even like just the confidence of a player,
Right.
right? Like if he's already confident in himself, like I feel like they'll be like, all right, well, if I had one bad game, whatever, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'll bounce back, and I think that's how I used to see Timmy when he was in high school at Palmetto, and it's just interesting to see that now. So yeah, when you're coaching them, when you're coaching in general, do you how much critique is going in as a trainer or as a coach? Like, are you critiquing, like when you're talking to them, like are you approaching things more of like, hey, this is a skill set that this as a trainer, or how are you balancing that out?
Well, it depends. If we're doing team stuff, I'm focusing on the team.
The team stuff, right?
But we do skill work and practice, and I don't like to limit players. So if they're taking a shot in the game, maybe at the moment that I don't think they're ready for, or not that I don't like it, but just not time yet. I say, I don't mind if you take the shot, but then we have to work on it a lot.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And you know, they're players that are capable of taking
Yeah.
these shots. You know, so I like to just instill as much confidence as possible.
Yeah.
I think if you instill confidence, they play very well.
Yeah.
Not always, but they play well, and they also do things that maybe they didn't think they were capable of.
Yeah.
So
And how sorry, I blanked out for a second. So they don't, okay, even someone like when while they're playing, like, are you ever like thinking like, oh, are they how much like do you think that they think like, oh, when you speak based on the kind of guys that you work with, like how much like respect do you think that garners you? Like,
No, I think it brings me respect.
right?
But at the end of the day, it's you can tell if the kids are smart players. They know if the coach is, doing a good job or not.
Yeah, yeah.
So if I'm not,
Or if he's full of it.
if they don't think I'm doing a good job, they probably won't stick around.
Yeah, yeah.
So I believe I do a really good job. I have a really, really good assistant coach in George Milo.
Right.
Miami
High, another Miami High guy.
Yeah, and we watch a lot of film. We challenge each other. We just try to find, like, we ask each other, well, because we had a kind of extensive, like, little preseason where we played a lot of games. How do we get better from here now? Right? What? So I'm like, yo, George, we need to get better. What do you think we need to do? Like, what? And he asked me back to me, and then we put it together, right? So again, I think I started it off with is constantly trying to improve. There's a lot of guys who've been coaching much longer than me.
Yeah.
You
think there's like so much pressure on you, like when, and I know you don't care about Miami stuff, but like when you get out of here, you think there's people like, oh, you're always expected to win because of like the caliber of player that you have on your team, like when they see the Boozers, they're like, oh.
That. I don't think that was like that yet. They're ninth grade, they're 14, so no, I think we went to Las Vegas and they were like, oh.
A little wake-up call.
They were like, oh, these people are the real deal.
Oh, wait till they play Montverde.
Oh, yeah. We'll play them one day. We're not ready there. We're not there yet.
Yeah, well, but that's like I remember, and I'll tell you, it's the most.
I'll tell you what, we played a team in Vegas.
Similar?
I mean, Montverde's better, but we played a team with, 7, 8 Division I commits that were seniors.
Yeah. Oh, that's already, yeah.
We won.
Damn.
Yeah. So, again, I'm not, maybe we play them again. Maybe they get, but we were there competing. We went there. We competed against high-level players. We did, people didn't think we were going to win a game there.
That was the Mikey Williams experience. You guys played,
I thought that was really good for our kids.
Yeah.
Great. I actually think we should have won the game.
Were they starstruck a little bit? Like, oh, look, this
I don't think so.
Oh,
Maybe
right.
some of them, but I don't think so.
He's such a social media.
Yeah.
Everywhere. He's everywhere.
He's actually a pretty good player. I just wish he would really lock in on that. I think it would take. He doesn't know what type of player he could probably be. He's very talented. I just think that
he's not your average.
No, he's getting a lot of
he's
things.
got so much going on.
Pretty sure he's making money.
Yeah, of course. I mean, he just signed the Puma. He's got like a 2K, an NBA 2K commercial. I think he's like the first kid to ever get like a NBA 2K commercial.
I just want him to. You don't even know what you're capable of. Just go in and dive in and just work.
How do you feel about all this? Because I
feel good, and I think it's good, and then I think there's bad.
Because this is coming for you too.
Right, I think it's good and it's bad, but why can't a kid, why can't a kid, if you look in tennis or you look into individual sports,
right,
those kids make money at a young age.
Yeah.
Why can't they make money?
Yeah.
He has over 2 million followers. He's hot right now.
Yeah.
Why can't he make money?
Agreed. I don't disagree.
I mean, the fact that they
again, though, can someone in his circle keep him grounded?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's
always important.
That's the important part, right? So, but why can't a kid in college? Some kids go to college, and they're in a college town, and they can make a ton of money during those 4 years they're there, and then they leave, and they're not. Their name doesn't hold the same weight anymore.
Mm-hmm. But it's also, as you said, like, how do you? It's hard to stay locked in when you have all this going on.
Correct.
That kid's phone must be through the roof.
I'm sure, but I mean, listen. It is what it is. Things are always evolving and changing. What are we going to do about it at the time? How are we going to, keep the kids grounded and leveled and continue to work, right? Because you want it to last as long as possible.
Yeah.
This ride, you want it to, I mean, he's what, 17?
Yeah.
You want it to last for a while. We don't want it to end.
So someone like Boozer, like you think, like I think someone like the Boozers, they have that advantage just because like the father knows the game. You know, he's been around it. He understands. So I think like when this stuff starts to happen, it's kind of like it's easier for them to be grounded because they have, like I think with people like Mikey Williams or other kids around the country, like they don't have someone above them that already had been through this process, right? I think like having someone like you that deals with these guys on a daily basis, having a father that's played in the NBA, was a professional, played at a high level college.
And I think their mother does a great job as well.
Yeah, of course.
Keeping them grounded, making sure they're working, pushing them.
Right. Mom's always the biggest. I always tell people when you're a college coach and you're going to go recruit, you don't go into the house talking to dad. You know what I'm saying? You're going to the house talking to mom. Mom is the one that's going to, because she's the one that's going to decide whether she trusts you with her son. You know, Dad's going to be like, he's got to grow. You know, you make a decision as a man. But mom is the one that's like, hold on, man, if I'm going to give you my kid, you know, and you're going across the country to go play for someone, I need to know. So mom's always the most vital piece. And, you know, most boys naturally are mama's boys. Like and, you know, so one thing I want to talk about is, and you know, we're about to getting close to wrap up, and I think want to touch a little bit on because it is a Miami thing, and everything that we do in this podcast is you know, especially now in the beginning, is Miami forward. People that have built brands here, have been here, the people from around the way that we know that have built successful careers, right? And obviously Tim Hardaway being that, you know, how he's made it to a certain level and he might not play for the city of Miami, correct, right? But he still comes back and gives back to Miami. A lot of people out there don't know that. So like he has Team Hardaway, correct, right? And for those of you that don't know out there, like we just talked about like the EYBL with the Night Riders and stuff like that, which is and those teams are fully sponsored. Nike you know, every of those teams have contracts where, you know, those things are paid. They get uniforms and the whole nine. But for the typical average kid out here, you know, things are reliant on your parent setting up an AAU team or some random like guy there that wants to just coach a bunch of kids and take you to some tournaments, and you gotta like fundraise, and like even like LeBron, like when you watch the his little documentary, like they used to go sell things and stuff like that. Right. And I think Tim Hardaway has blessed the kids of Miami by creating his team with his brand, of course, but in a sense, like they get Jordan gear, right? Everything is paid for as far as, you know, their flights, and most part, he's giving people a chance to, these kids a chance to get outside of the country. I remember me and Andrew talked one time. We were in Houston. We went to that, I forgot what the mall was called, but the mall with the ice skating rink. Yeah. So we're in there, and I remember like the whole team was like all the kids kept talking about how nice everybody was in every single store that we went into, right? I remember like Andrew was like, we were in the food court, and Andrew said, you know, I'm gonna paraphrase it in a nicer way of saying it. He was like, it's good for these freaking kids to understand that, you know, they see people outside of Miami. It's they experience a different culture
and away from the aggression.
Yeah, like Houston might not be like, you know, going to Spain and learning how their culture is or anything like too foreign, right? But it's just the way people respond and the way people behave, you know, in the South to the North to the West.
Exposure, man. You got exposure to culture, and that's a big deal. Right. I mean, the fact that Timmy has really come back to the community like that is I know that there's a lot of people that spend their off time here. Yeah. But the fact that he is not just doing that, but injecting, you know, a little bit of love back into the community, that makes a big difference.
Makes a big difference. And I think I think Andrew even appreciates something like the fact like that, like what we were talking about, like giving these kids an opportunity to go, like where had they gone to, like North Carolina?
Yeah, that was year one last year.
Yeah, Pittsburgh, I think, or New Jersey,
Pittsburgh, I think. Atlanta. I mean, they went a bunch of places. Yeah. And that was year one.
Yeah, I mean, it's only going to get bigger.
That was year one, and we had to rush because we weren't sure there was going to be the COVID and this and that. So now we have more time to prepare. We'll probably have a few more teams. But no, it's great that he's able to do that and that he does do it. You know?
Because he doesn't have to.
And I think he wants to build a legacy, and I think it also helps Miami.
Of course. Yeah.
Where we always get, you know, and although South Florida has definitely put out some players as of lately, you know. Yep.
Scotty Barnes in the NBA now. Are we going to see some Scotty Barnes soon or some training?
Oh, I don't know if he wants to.
Okay. I don't
go. I don't call them. If they want, they'll
hit you
they'll
up.
hit me up.
That's right. That's how he's got it now. Like they'll just hit me.
No,
up.
no, that's not how I got it. Just how I
That's
do
that
it.
reputation.
If they
That's the
want,
reputation.
if they're gonna pick the guys. Like there's a lot of trainers now. They're gonna pick the guys that they like and they feel
That they're
comfortable,
comfortable
with,
with,
and that's fine. I mean,
But they can also learn things from different.
absolutely,
Yeah.
if that's their choice.
Of
But,
course, yeah.
I'm not going to,
Kid plays hard, man. That's what I love about him.
no, that's where he is. Where he is.
Yeah, he plays hard. Like there's no. I love watching him play. But it's like it's like you say, and I think that's one of the greatest things that we can do. Like see a guy come from here and make.
I was talking to the team at the most important part is not receiving; it's giving back. Right. The whole point is for us to, right. The whole point as coaches is we did it. Now, coaching is not about me. Like,
right.
If it is, it's going to be a very small, fulfilling part.
It's about the players. Like, are we preparing the guys for what they want? Are we preparing them for life? Because everyone's not going to play basketball for a long time. Some will play for a while, but even those that play for a long time comes to an end.
Mm-hmm.
So are we preparing them to be
well-adjusted.
men in society and be able to give back as well? Like, it's, you hear it all the time. It's better to give than receive, right?
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. We like to receive. We like the new shoes. They're great, right? Shoes are nice, but they're just shoes.
Yeah.
We need to prepare the next generation and help them to grow, and help them to be a better life. Everyone's not gonna be an NBA life, right?
Yeah.
Right.
We gotta understand, like there are other ways to be successful, and like if you're passionate and you do what you love and you work hard, you're going to enjoy your life.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you're making millions of dollars, but I think for me, I've been able to kind of, turn basketball, and not coaching, because as a high school coach, it's hard. You don't make tons of money.
Yeah.
But I was able to kind of turn it around and do the training and then come back around and be able to coach and still be able to provide for my family and give them a life that, I'm not saying I grew up this hard life, but their life's definitely better than what I grew up in,
Exactly.
So and then just preparing the guy. Hey, there's so many things, like there's so many aspects to be a part of the game, whether it's coaching, whether it's in a front office, whether it's a trainer, whether it's a sports broadcaster, whatever. There's a lot of kids that try out at the high school and don't make it. But there's what I try to teach kids to have self-awareness, and then be aware also of the resources around you.
Mm-hmm.
I cut a few kids this past week because it's just part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them, it's devastating and it's hard,
Mm-hmm.
But I asked them, do you want to continue to be a part of the game? Okay, well, what aspect? Okay, maybe you can be a manager and see what it's like. Maybe if I see you grow and then I bring you into the NBA workouts, right? I had one kid that when first year I got there, I cut him. And we asked him if he wanted to be a manager. He's like, no way. It's not a very
luxurious.
Well, not only that, I'm sure in high school, everyone's going to give you what? Everyone's going to make fun of you, right? Oh, this guy's a manager? What a joke.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? He was a manager for 2 years. Last year, he was pretty much a coach.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's an assistant coach.
Yeah.
He also helps out in every single NBA workout. He helped out in all the NBA draft. That guy's going to be one day, I don't know what level, he's going to be a great coach.
Well, that's like those guys that go and being grad assistants and stuff like that.
So,
high major schools.
That's pretty special, though. I'm not gonna lie.
And then and again, I'm lucky enough to work with these guys. Well, guess what? I can provide these kids with an opportunity that
you were not gonna see.
Well, I didn't have it.
Right.
But that's fine. It's okay that I didn't have it.
But you're, like you said, now you're able to provide
and give back. I have to give it, right? Because it would have been cool if I was at a high school and my coach was training NBA players.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Well, not just that, but it's the love that you're giving back, right? Because I mean, I was, playing a little bit of baseball in high school and other traveling teams, and then when you're cut, you're cut.
Yeah.
It's been nice, man. See you around.
Right.
I gotta pay attention to my team. Like
Right.
you're doing an educator's role, and more of a different figure when you're just saying, I can't provide you this opportunity, but if you work hard, there's other avenues to still be
Correct.
a part of this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you're not, like you're not creating feelings of exclusion. You're creating just a resourcefulness.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
okay, cool. I this didn't work out, but that doesn't mean other things can't work out, or this can't turn into something even more, like fulfilling, right?
Yeah.
Or fruitful, if you will.
And in essence, what he's doing is basically teaching someone like the buck doesn't stop here.
No, absolutely.
There's always another door.
There was a stigma, man. I mean, there kind of still is, but there was a stigma when I was a kid. You got cut, and bro, I remember I never felt that, but I was always like, damn, man, I'm sorry, bro.
Yeah. But like, bro, kids need to be pushed. Kids need to be directed, and then kids need to be given confidence.
Yeah, confidence is. The major thing,
you got cut. Your confidence is way down.
Right.
Yeah, you feel like shit.
How can I? Because I'm the one who cut him.
Right.
How can I?
And you don't want to seem patronizing to them
Right.
either.
How can I lift him? Because there's the ones that get cut and they really wanted to be a part of, and maybe they knew they weren't quite good enough, but they just wanted to be a part
Right.
of what's going on. They want to be a part of the team. There's something to a team to be a part of a team, which feels great.
Of course. I think we all felt that last year when we were having to be locked up in the crib, right?
Correct.
And we're like, damn, bro, I mean, a little human contact is.
So I try to create other avenues if I can.
That's big stuff.
Yeah.
So
That's big stuff.
So just to end it, to wrap it up, let the people know where they can find your information for the academies, what days, times.
So we got two accounts. We have my personal account, which is called Miami Hoop School, which is on Instagram. And we have another account called Miami Hoop School _Academy. There's tons of announcements on there. I usually repost as well. Then there is also our website, which is MiamiHoopSchool.com. All the info is there. You can email us anytime, admin@MiamiHoopSchool.com. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. I have an academy, 2 locations. They run 3 times a week, one down by Tamiami Airport, one at Christopher Columbus High School. We have some other things in the works.
And these are all ages, right?
all ages. Maybe some other locations.
Girls too, not just boys.
Girls and
everyone.
boys coming soon. Other locations. I don't know how soon, but hopefully sooner than later.
And if they want to work out private with you,
Private, you just send an email. We have small group training. We have private training. We have summer camps. So there's a lot of ways to be a part of it. A lot of ways to improve. There's not only one way. You can try out the academy, which is a larger group, which is nice because it's more of a competitive situation. A private workout is not as competitive because you're by yourself.
right?
But then there's these other small group workouts that we do, which I think
Those
help.
private
a lot.
ones require more energy from you,
Right.
right?
The small group ones are some of my favorite because those are the ones that really, really love it and they show up, and then you can make them compete in certain ways. So, but yeah, hit us up on Instagram if you're interested. Check out our website, MiamiHoopSchool.com, and we'll help you out any way we can.
And we will provide the links to all that down below in the description. When this stuff goes up on Instagram and YouTube, we will provide all the links to everything he just said, so you can make it easy accessible for those people. And once again, we want to thank you for coming.
Thank you for letting me on, letting me share,
a real
a
pleasure,
share
bro.
a little
Yeah.
bit of my story.
And that's kind of what we want. We want to inspire people out there that we're going to be having a lot of people on the show that are working different things, different avenues, and give people out there some perspective on what they're doing. We know a lot of people out there. We're living in an age in society where everyone wants to do their own thing and create their own lane. But I think it's important to hear different stories on how they did it, and for everyone to grasp, like, hey, if you really work hard at something, it won't happen overnight. But if you dedicate your time and effort into it, it can happen. And I think hearing different people's stories is always important. So we want to thank you for coming.
Appreciate
We want
it.
to thank you guys
Thanks
for
for
tuning
having
in to the Flavor in Your podcast.
Yep.
I'm Danny.
It's your boy Jay.
All right. Don't forget to hit the comment, like, subscribe button. That's it means a lot to us. It really helps the channel, really helps support. Tune in next week for another show.